It's growing on me.
We're just dancing in the background. No big deal.
I was really ranting against that music for a little while, but now I've heard it a few times, and I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe it's okay.
It's catchy.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good. That's
Doesn't
what we're
it?
here for, right?
This is a habit. We're trying to be, look, it's forecasting with friends. This isn't like doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be kind of.
And just
like,
chit chat, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing too formal, which is
So, so what's going on with you? Friend.
Friend, I've just been cooking so much and baking.
I went home with, so Allison brought in these s'mores bark. So it's like peppermint bark, or right, but it's s'mores bark. And so I have a confession. I'm going to tell you this. Only folks that are on Fox Local are going to hear this confession.
Okay.
So I brought a sample home for the children.
Yes.
The thing is, I had it on a plate. So as I'm driving home, the plate is in the passenger seat of the car. And I'm a little hungry. So we're driving. I'm driving. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, Juliana probably won't eat that, you know. And then I'm thinking of my youngest, Gia, and I'm like, you know, by the time she gets home, because she wasn't there, but I'm like, by the time she gets home, it's probably going to be like soggy or whatever. So I started taking a couple pieces of it. And I didn't eat the whole thing, but I ate a good solid half of it before I got home. And I felt kind of guilty about it. So when I got home, I put it like on the island in the kitchen. I covered it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell them it's there, you know, when I wake up from my nap or whatever. So, yeah.
Did they like it?
Some of that. Well, I ate most of it.
Okay.
There wasn't that much left to try. So it was really good. So okay, so it was graham crackers, right?
Yeah, so bed of graham crackers, mini marshmallows,
Yeah.
chocolate chips, and then I made like a caramel sauce with brown sugar and melted butter.
But I was tasting the butter in there too. The thing is, so I have, and I freely admit to it, it's an illness, it's an addiction to sweets. It really is. And I tell my wife that sometimes too, because she'll get something at the store, I don't know, Oreos or something. I'm like, you can't.
Yeah, no.
You can't, because I see that, and I'm like, but then again, you got to treat yourself every once in a while. And so that was really, really good.
Good. I'm so glad.
And we have another one coming in
tomorrow
yeah.
for Father's Day. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. I was actually just thinking, because what I'm going to do is make it tonight, but not bake it until tomorrow morning. But I think I need to make two so that it'll be warm, because I'm telling you.
The logistics are really hard, because we have a tasting on, is it Friday mornings that we do it, like at 7:45?
Yes.
Right? So that's hard to plan. And there was one week, it was the meatball incident week. The meatball incident.
Yes. So forgot that I had to make it. And so I had to call my husband, and I was like, Gibby, you need to go to the store. I need to go buy the ingredients and I need to make these meatballs. And so he's like following my recipe. He's like, okay, do these look good? And like sending me pictures. And they turned out great, thankfully.
Yeah.
So the directions do work, y'all.
And he is an engineer, so he knows how to, you know, make things. But I don't know about
finding the measuring cups.
Meatballs.
And
stuff. I can't imagine if, I know, well, because I cannot. I tried to cook back when we were a younger married couple. I tried to cook, and I ended up, so I tried to make, I really like cashew chicken. I love cashew chicken. So I was going to cook one night. This is going back a ways, but it left a mental scar. So I was trying to cook it one night, and I just because you have to roast the, you've got to brown
toast
up the,
them,
you toast them, You toast the cashews a little bit, and I just overdid it, so they kind of got a little bit burned, and then but I still went on and made the whole little dish, and then we sat down to eat it, and it was just tasted like charred
it's
nuts.
the only thing.
Yeah, and so since then my confidence was completely destroyed. And so, plus my wife is a pretty good cook, and she's like a Louisiana cook. You know, she comes from a long line.
Just let her do it.
Yeah. So, and since then, I've just gotten so lazy to the point that I can't do it. So, if I were put in that position that I had to make emergency meatballs, it wouldn't have gone well at all. Seriously. Hey, speaking of seriously.
Yes.
So I grew up in Florida. You worked in Florida for a while. Getting slammed with rain.
The video is incredible. And the thing is, they're not even done with the rain yet. And we've seen so many spots, Fort Lauderdale, that have beaten their daily rain records.
Yeah.
And almost for the entire month or several months, just in the span of 3 days, over a foot in some spots.
Yeah, I was looking this morning. Some of the highest totals I saw. So yeah, a foot is like, that's a lot of rain, you know. But there are some places, I think it was Hialeah, Florida, which is in Miami-Dade County, is 19 inches and counting. There were some areas, one of the places where I grew up in Pembroke Pines, Florida, I think they had like 16 inches or 17 inches of rain. And here's the weird thing, it rains a lot in Florida. I mean, Florida's a rainy state.
Yes.
But flooding like this is not common at all.
No, not at all.
No.
And the thing is, you hear about Florida Man and like Florida drivers, but truly when water starts falling out of the sky, people just almost forget how to drive, and then it becomes a stressful matter. And, you know, coming up in the next break or block here, we're actually going to be talking with one of our Fox Weather correspondents. But she was saying that I-95, which is the main corridor, was shut down for 6-7 hours.
Yeah, so I checked in with my mom and my brother, because they're down in Broward County, Florida. I said, okay, how is it, in your neighborhood? And they said it's fine, but my mom mentioned that I-95 was closed down. And they've been down there. My parents moved to Florida in 1974. And I don't think, she said she doesn't remember that ever happening before. No. And obviously it's grown a lot, but to have that much.
Oh, gosh.
And this has been like, I think it was, you might remember better than I did because you were in Florida. Plus my memory is not that good, but last year I think was when the Fort Lauderdale Airport had that 20 inches of rain.
In one night.
In one night.
I was working that night.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you can't believe the rainfall totals because I'm watching it and it's just increasing.
Yeah.
And folks that were stuck in the airport, it was nighttime, no restaurants are open.
Yeah, oh
They can't get water, they can't leave. It's just like, what are you supposed to do?
When it rains like that, it's just, well, we see it here. The whole city shuts down, but you have to, we always talk about turn around, don't drown, right? And sometimes it sounds like it's like a broken record, like, okay, I get it, And the fact is, look, I've been out in it too, and I've been kind of like, can I make it across that? Maybe. Okay, do I want to worry about messing up the car? But I did see a lot of those cars were driving through pretty high water.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be a lot of floated cars, a lot of ruined cars down there, and it's tough when it hits like that. And sometimes you just want to get home. You don't feel safe. And it's like the alternative is you park your car in some parking lot in a strip mall and then just wait there for hours,
And hope.
Hope it gets better. So it's definitely rough for folks.
Florida, which we talked about, there's alligators in every body of water.
Alligators.
And I mean, even an instance in Orlando when I was working there, a gal was reporting in a strip mall parking lot, and what does she see?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I'm like panicking behind the air. I'm like, Amanda, get out of there. Like, get out. It's not worth the live report.
No, I mean, and they have signs up. Like, we have canals in Florida, which I guess we don't really have in Houston. We have bayous, but maybe canals, and like there's signs right there that said alligators present, because sometimes, people are naive and whatever, but when the water's coming out of there, the alligators are going to come out too.
It's crazy. And you even think about parking lots. I'm blanking on when you pull into a parking spot and it has the cement little line.
Yeah. I don't know what that's called.
But you can't see that if it's underwater. And so people are driving through and then you run into it. And then, a tire pops. Well, that's not getting
What
fixed,
a mess.
So.
Hey, Director Bradley, what are those things called? A parking block, I think, or something like that? I think
it's like one of those things like you don't know.
I don't like them because we've all probably done it at one point where you don't think it's there and then you think you could just pull through. A park stop, is that what it's called? And you just pull through and you're like, cocoon, and you're, oh my gosh, I just broke my car.
Yeah. that's not a good
Nobody
feeling.
said life was going to be easy, right? So obviously that's the big weather story of the day is what's happening in Florida. And the reason that we've been sharing it with you this morning is not just because it's of interest to friends and family over there, but because we, or at least parts of Texas, are going to end up probably in a similar situation next week.
Days of rain.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the forecast models showing right now, mainly south of us, but several inches.
Yeah, lots and lots. So, and it looks like it's going to be every day next week, basically, that we'll have a pretty good chance for seeing some, at least some scattered storms. Right now, the models, and we'll look at it in more detail, I think, coming up, but coastal areas might get in a lot of rain, areas south of Houston, and right now it looks like South Texas. I mean, the models are spitting out like, you know, over a foot of rain kind of thing. And did you want to pull up I think that we did have a tropical graphic that we could share with you that, so yeah, right now, all of that moisture, the bright greens over in Florida, but we're going to see it, you know, start to move into our area too.
Actually, so it's that 40%er, but here we go.
Right there, yeah. So that was this is the GFS model. And we also have been, you know, we also look at like the Euro model, and we have our Fox model that we're very proud of too. But wherever you see the white, I actually had to make this color table because we get such darn heavy rain in Houston, and the weather graphic system when we first got it didn't have like the scale, you know, it would like just turn yellow and it would be like 4 inches plus. And
You're like, oh, no.
I'm like, no, that's not going to do it, you know?
That's not going to cut it here.
So where it gets into that white area, it goes to more than 10 inches. So that's what it's showing in Mexico right now with some heavy rain down around Brownsville too.
But it really just depends on where this potential low would set up. Because if it, you know, makes kind of a quick turn to the west, okay, then Mexico's probably going to see a lot of it. But, you know, if it moves up a little bit, and just because maybe these models showing it would be to our south, like Mike said, doesn't mean that we couldn't still be seeing a lot of heavy rain.
And it doesn't, you know, the way things work around here too. I mean, we've seen it like the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. It's like sometimes one spot will get, you know, just 10 inches of rain or whatever, and then some other spots might not see anything. You know, from late April through early May, it was Huntsville, it was Livingston, and all these spots that got 20, 22 inches of rain. And then the last couple of days, I was looking, so Monday and Tuesday, Bush Airport had 6¼ inches of rain between those 2 days.
Wow.
Hobby Airport had almost nothing. Hold on, I'm blanking on it. Hobby Airport had 0.22 or something like that.
That's crazy.
And Bush had 6.
That's crazy.
So, and then Hobby picked up some pretty good rain yesterday, but it is sometimes feast or famine. Yeah. So I think we are going to be checking in after this break with one of your former colleagues, Nicole Valdez, who is a correspondent with Fox Weather, and she is in Florida, hopefully avoiding the Gators.
I know, I hope so. And hopefully not getting rained on at the moment. When we interviewed her at 9, she was dry, but she's like, not going to be the case in a few hours. So make sure you stick with us. We'll have more with her in Miami coming up in just a bit.
weather's not fine everywhere.
No, not clear blue skies. Actually, a lot of rain that we've been seeing mainly in the southern half of the Florida Peninsula. If you have family or friends there, you've seen on social media probably the pictures and video, and it's truly incredible to see how much rain they've gotten just within the last few days.
It looks like Houston-style flooding that we see around here. You know, we dread when it happens around here, and now it's happening in Florida. We have a Fox weather correspondent, Nicole Valdez, who's been down there, and it looks like we were just looking at the radar, Nicole, before we tossed out to you, and there's this heavy line from like Naples back up to north of West Palm Beach. But you guys are getting a little break right now, it looks like.
Yeah, we know that won't last long, unfortunately, but look at this unbelievable scene here. This is North Miami Beach, and at least one neighborhood still underwater. So much of it now, it's seeping into homes along this street alone, but we know there are dozens that look just like this all across South Florida. It is an unbelievable scene, and the reason why several counties across the area are now under an emergency declaration that issued by Governor Ron DeSantis late yesterday after that flash flood emergency and record rainfall in places like Fort Lauderdale, close to 10 inches of it falling in less than a day. What you're looking at here is a line of cars that are still driving through very deep floodwaters that have at one point forced drivers to ditch their cars in places like Aventura and Hollywood and Hollandale Beach because of just how deep it was. And you'll take a look here to your right, at least one home has been flooded. There are dozens, unfortunately, just like it. In fact, Miami officials telling us at least a dozen people have been rescued, in some cases from their own homes, as that water has just really taken over so many communities as far north as Fort Lauderdale and as far south as Miami Beach. It is such a widespread impact that we are seeing, and it's really hard for these people to figure out what to do, where to go. Some people have nowhere to stay. I just spoke to a woman who says her home is flooded. She's got a baby at home. She's now staying in a hotel nearby, unsure when she'll be able to leave. That's the reality of the situation for a lot of people. Meanwhile, travel, of course, has just been an absolute nightmare. You had I-95, shut down for a 6-hour window yesterday, and both major airports in South Florida are seeing delays, some upwards of 7 hours. So it's unfortunate, but we know it could go from bad to worse. Once that new line of rain starts to move through here, another 4 to maybe 8 inches of rain could fall here by Friday night, guys. So another soaker set for South Florida, and it's not going to really make this any better. In fact, it could aggravate the situation. We could see a repeat of that emergency we had just hours ago, guys.
And Nicole, just wondering, what are folks saying on the ground? When is the last time they saw something like this happen in their neighborhood?
I think it depends on who you talk to. There are some people who especially live in those lower lying communities around Miami that say it's Miami, it floods. But again, have they seen it to this level? That's hard to say, because it really depends on how much rain you get in a short period of time. Typically, if it's a consistent, steady rain, you know, this is Miami, it sort of knows how to drain itself, and I think officials here know what to expect, what areas could see some of the worst of it. I think what has really stood out to people here is, again, how quickly that rain fell, and that's what's led to a lot of the extreme flooding that you're seeing.
They're also, you know, South Florida is a it's been a very fast growing area. Lots and lots of people, so lots of new construction, new development, and so that presents, I think, probably some new challenges for drainage and things like that as well. And it's that way for a lot of cities, but I think down there is one of the trouble spots too, Nicole.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you've got a community, really a city, right, that's not very elevated. It's right around sea level. So this water struggles to find where to go once it pools up, right? And that's why you've got flooding that really lasts for hours, sometimes for days, because it really takes time for that water to sort of spread out and start to dissipate. And that's, I think, why this second round of rain, or rather just the continuous rain, is that much more of a threat. That's why officials are taking this very seriously. They're now handing out sandbags for those who live in communities like this to try to give them some sort of protection from another round of this.
Wow. Well, great work out there. Please stay safe, and hopefully you can stay dry this afternoon.
Yeah, be careful. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Allison.
Forecasting with Friends, our Fox Local show here, Nicole. We appreciate it. We know you got a lot of work to do. All right, and coming up next, Allison, are you going to do the honors?
Yes, I will.
Of today's forecast and a look ahead at Father's Day weekend and all of that good stuff. So don't go away.
Welcome back to Forecasting with Friends, everyone. And we want to leave you with a forecast for the day. It's Thursday, and just like pretty much all this week, we've been monitoring some coastal showers to start the day. So we're seeing it from Lake Jackson down to Port Lavaca and even close to Corpus Christi. But if we zoom in a little bit closer, you can see Palacios did have some heavy rain about 45 minutes ago that is starting to push off to the north and weaken as it does, but down towards Seadrift and then making its way closer to Port Lavaca. We are seeing a bit of that heavy rain. Now I want to take you up a little bit closer to Texas City, Galveston, and maybe some light rain, but you can see where the radar is near League City. So I'd say a lot of this is maybe not necessarily falling to the ground, but you're likely going to be seeing some dark clouds in the skies. Now further inland, there's going to be a lower chance for rain. So going to be all about the heat today in Magnolia. By 4 p.m., Forecast highs soaring to the mid-90s. It's going to be a similar story in the Woodlands. About 91 degrees expected by 1, and we're going to be staying really hot and really humid through, well, at least 8 o'clock tonight. That's the thing. Even when the sun starts to set, we're really not going to be getting any relief from the heat. And passing clouds will be expected in Splendora, 95 by 4, and then by 8 p.m. we're still in the mid-80s with feels like temperatures well into the triple digits today, tomorrow, and likely through the weekend. The thing is, when we see lower rain chances, that's when our temperatures will really be on the rise. So we had a few showers this morning. We'll see that trend continue. And then by this afternoon, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. Not going to be high coverage. We're talking about 20% today. And the thing is, those rain chances drop even more Friday and into Saturday. So upper 70s expected as we start your Friday. Maybe you wanted to get that run in early. Well, it's going to be really humid out there and then hot and humid for the afternoon. Temperatures will likely be even warmer tomorrow. But all week long, we've been talking about the surge of likely tropical moisture that we'll be seeing along the Gulf Coast and really across the coast of Texas. So we're talking June 18th through the 22nd. Brownsville right now kind of looks like the bullseye of where we could be seeing some of the heaviest rain across the state for the next week, but we're not ruling out the chance to see that tropical moisture move up here. The thing is, with these tropical areas that we're monitoring, could it become a tropical depression? Well, it's definitely a possibility, but the thing is, we're likely going to see that tropical moisture just continue for, well, most of next week. So you can see our rainfall totals here in Houston, according to our GFS model, really starting to pick up several inches, and you can see that it's really centered along our coastal zones. But taking you down to Brownsville and coastal Mexico, anywhere that's shaded in purple and that white color will be 8+ inches of rain. Now, this is going to be starting Sunday through Thursday. So that's a big chunk of time, meaning it's not all going to be falling just in one day with these tropical events, especially if it's not a really focused core. It's going to be broad, meaning those outer rain bands going to extend miles away. And that's why we could be seeing some of that really heavy rain, even right here in Houston. And you can see that with our 7-day forecast that we're hotter and drier through the weekend. Father's Day, Sunday, 30% chance for maybe some afternoon showers. So if you have brunch with dad, you should be good to go. And then here we go. Heavy rain possible next week. Make sure you join us for another episode of Forecasting with Friends on Fox Local. And that will be tomorrow starting at 11 a.m.